Hi everyone, I'm Don Smith coming to you from the Clark TV 36 studios, and today we are here to talk to you about the Arthur L. Johnson High School Hall of Fame. And joining us here in studio is Steve Shohfi. Steve, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Now, this is such a great honor for so many individuals that are in the Hall of Fame. First, let's talk to our viewers here about what the Hall of Fame is. Kind of go describe it for some folks who are not sure exactly what it is.
Sure. The Hall of Fame, it's the Arthur L. Johnson High School Alumni Association Hall of Fame. It was started back in 2014, so I believe this is the 10th year that there'll be inductions that will be happening. It is not, a lot of people get confused, it is not an athletic Hall of Fame. We don't have a category for athlete, although we tend to have a lot of former high school athletes that are inducted. And that simply, I think I attribute that to the fact that it's just not at all uncommon for high achieving people to have been involved in athletics, prior to at some point in their career.
Right.
But it's not an athletic Hall of Fame. But there are several categories that I'm sure we'll talk about that people can get nominated in. I think there's about maybe 70 or so individuals that are currently have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that's where we're at right now. And we're going to be adding 7 more in a little bit, in a few weeks.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's go through the 7 that are inducted for 2023. So let's start off with Leonard Bummel.
Yeah, Leonard Bummel graduated in the class of 1959. He's traveling in from Texas, from Austin, Texas, to attend the induction this year. Remarkable biography. Very involved in the aerospace industry. Graduate of Cornell University, and became had a long career in the aerospace industry. Was involved in the Saturn program. Was involved in the Apollo 11 mission. Developed, I think, worked on the Hubble telescope at one time. His biography is published in the program that we're going to have at the dinner, but it's really extensive and it's really impressive.
Yeah, no, Apollo 11. I mean,
yeah.
Wow, what credentials there! And again, class of '59. Let's move on to Bill Prish.
Yeah, Bill Prish was an outstanding 3-sport athlete at Johnson, and went to the University of Notre Dame. Graduated from Notre Dame, went immediately into the Marine Corps, and was in Vietnam at the height of the war, and was a second lieutenant leading a platoon, stepped on a landmine, and lost a leg.
Oh, wow.
So he's a decorated war hero. He, after his service, after his long convalescence, in the hospital for 6 months or so, when he was released, recovered and went on to have a long career in the paper industry, in the paper manufacturing industry as an executive, and he's had a remarkable life. So he's being honored as a hero.
Sure, wonderful. So class of '63, correct?
Class of '63.
Okay,
right.
Let's move on to Ed McDevitt.
Ed McDevitt. Right. Yeah. Big Clark family. I think 4 or 5 brothers. Ed graduated in the class of '69. Again, a tremendous athlete at Johnson. Went to Bucknell University, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, and then went into the service. Played football at Bucknell. Then went into the service. Went into the Navy, and went to medical school while he was in the Navy, and became a surgeon. Primarily a hand surgeon, and had a long career as a surgeon in the Navy. Was stationed at Annapolis for a long time, became the team doctor for all the Annapolis Naval Academy athletic teams, was the main surgeon for the U.S. Supreme Court and for the United States Congress while he was at Annapolis. He's retired from the Navy now, but he still lives in Annapolis, Maryland, and he still works with the Naval Academy athletic teams.
Wow, unbelievable!
Yeah.
And all these folks grew up here in Clark,
Yeah.
and I mean, you wouldn't even know that until you got to go to the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Steve, let's move on. Rich Zavali.
Rich Zavali graduated in the class of '78, I believe. I coached him in lacrosse and football. Rich is being inducted for the category of Crusader Pride. He was a state champion wrestler. He's one of the only 2 state champion wrestlers that A.L.J. has ever had. I personally think that winning a state championship in wrestling is probably the most impressive, athletic accomplishment that somebody can have in high school. But he's one of our 2 state champions in the history of the school. Graduated from A.L.J., went to Montclair State, and then went to work for Torcon for a long time, 40 years or so. Became a project manager. All that stuff was in charge of, $900,000 million projects. He's retired now. He's traveled all over the world with his wife. He's being inducted in the category of Crusader Pride. Basically because his accomplishments as an athlete at Johnson. If you wanted to say that this was an athletic category, this would be the closest to that. Crusader Pride. It's just his accomplishments both as a high school student and after his high school.
And outside,
right.
outside the school, and continue to show that Crusader Pride.
Right.
Wonderful stuff. So congratulations, Rich. Moving on to Christine Sica Romeo.
Yeah, Christine Sica Romeo graduated in the class of '83. She was an outstanding basketball player and volleyball player at Johnson, dominant in both sports. Went to the University of Georgetown on a full ride for basketball. Was captain of the Georgetown University basketball team. Graduated from Georgetown, went to law school. I forget exactly what law school she went to. Became a practicing lawyer, very successful, and took a step back from it. She still practiced, but she took a step back from it somewhat, so that she could be of service to her community, her adopted community of New Providence, New Jersey, and her 2 sons. So she got heavily involved in community activities in New Providence, got heavily involved in scouting for her 2 sons. So she's being inducted in the category of community contributor. Unfortunately, Christine has left us. She passed away, prematurely several years ago. So she's a posthumous inductee, but I had her as a student, just a wonderful person. She was a tremendous person. It's a tremendous loss that she's no longer with us.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk to our viewers here about Yolanda Urbanski.
Okay, well, Yolanda was a student of mine, also a great 2-sport athlete at Johnson, track and field and soccer, girls soccer. Yolanda's biography reads like a Tom Clancy novel. She graduated from Johnson, went to Boston College. Graduated from Boston. I think she was a political science major at BC. Political science and Spanish, I think, double major. And graduated from BC, went to Columbia University. Graduated from Columbia University, I forget what her master's was in, and then she went to work immediately for the CIA. And she was a CIA field agent for 14 years, in the field, in hotspots all over the world. Team leader, unit leader, working with other organizations to encounter terrorism and working against to take down Al-Qaeda, high-level Al-Qaeda operatives and things like that. So she did that for 14 years. She left the CIA. She went to Goldman Sachs as a head of their security, global security for Goldman Sachs. After a few years, left there and went to NBC and was head of security for NBC, global security for NBC. And she left there after a while, and she is currently now the head of global security and intelligence for the National Basketball Association.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Again, who kind of knew all this stuff about some of these wonderful,
it's amazing.
Wonderful individuals, growing up in Clark, and it's just amazing. All right, and certainly last but not least, Karen Kolmos Planas.
Yeah, Karen Kolmos Planas. She graduated, I believe, in '98. Athlete again, and I know I keep hearkening back to that, to the athletic piece. Part of that is, my own fault because I taught and coached at Johnson for so long. So sometimes, again, there is some confusion. People think this is an athletic Hall of Fame, but it's really not, even though I keep kind of harking back to that. But Karen was a great athlete. She's being inducted for volunteer, and it's based on all of the volunteer work she has done with Clark Recreation Girls Softball over the years. She's been huge in that, in developing that program, and countless girls here in town have benefited as a result.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now all your honorees will be honored at a dinner.
They will all be, yep.
We're going to cover the dinner as well, so you'll see that here on TV 36 and as well as on the R. Clark Media YouTube channel coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. So good class here, fantastic. 7 inductees. As you mentioned, Steve, it's not so much an athletic Hall of Fame. Let's kind of run down for those who may be knowing of somebody here in Clark who would like to be, who they think would be a good inductee into the Hall of Fame. Then we'll get into the specifics and how to actually get into that. So let's run down some of the criteria here. Accomplished professional.
Yeah, accomplished professional. I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I think we have 6 categories: accomplished professional, Crusader Pride,
Community
contribution, volunteer, distinguished faculty, and hero.
Right.
Those are the categories that someone can be inducted in. And again, they're pretty self-explanatory. So, accomplished professional is just somebody that's gone on, somebody like a Yolanda or,
that's what I was going to mention.
Bill Prish or, any of those people, Ed McDevitt, that have gone on in their career and distinguished themselves and really have reached that point of accomplishment in their career.
Okay, so let's tell everybody about how you would nominate somebody. Take us kind of through that process.
Real simple. You go on to the Arthur L. Johnson High School website, and you can just Google Arthur L. Johnson High School, and go onto their website and scroll down towards the bottom of the page, and you will see a link for the nomination form for the A.L.J. Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And so you can just fill that out on the high school website. It's an electronic form. You can just fill that out. And I believe we have a date of January 31st for that to be completed and sent in to us. And that's more or less the deadline. And then the nomination is in, and it stays active for 3 years.
Stays active for 3. Okay,
for 3 years.
That's what I was going to ask you. How long does it actually stay
right.
active for? And for each class, now this is done every year. Is that correct?
We've done it every year
for
10 years now.
About how many? Is this on average the 7? Do you do more?
Yeah, no, it's usually it varies from year to year. It's never less than 5, but I don't believe it's ever been more than 7 either, except for with one exception. About 2 years ago, we had our Hall of Fame nominees, our 6 or 7 Hall of Fame nominees, and then we also inducted all of Clark's fallen heroes.
I see.
So that was the only year that we kind of went,
Sure.
above and beyond with that. I think the most number we've ever had is 7 to this point.
7. Okay, wonderful. So that date of January 31st will be 2024. We're recording this in the spring of 2023. Just so you're kind of get the lay of the land here of where we are. So go to the website, definitely download that form, fill it out, send it in. If you know somebody here in Clark that'll be a good candidate for the Hall of Fame, it's just an amazing Hall of Fame honor for so many people here in Clark. And the actual Hall of Fame itself is over at the school, correct?
Right. There's in the lobby of the school, in the entrance lobby of the school, there's a display. There's a plaque on the wall with everyone's name. There is on the website, on the school's website, you can actually there's a link to the Alumni Association page that you can go to, and right from the high school's main home web page, there's a link for the Alumni Association page, and on the Alumni Association page, there's a link for the Hall of Fame as well, and in there, there's a bio. There's bios for everybody.
Wonderful.
Just click on the inductee's name, and the bio pops up.
Great. All right. Well, Steve Shohfi, thanks a lot for joining us. Great information about the A.L.J. High School Hall of Fame. Again, thanks a lot for coming in, and another great class here, Steve.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're going to have there's a big turnout, and we're very excited. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Steve. My name is Don Smith here at the Clark TV 36 studios. We'll see you soon.